Nothing says family values like gathering all your kids around in order to watch tentacle porn on the TV. Hello everyone, I've got two stories I'm going to talk about today. First of all, journalist and hentai otaku Kurt Eichenwald tells Tara Reade that she's going to rot in hell. Secondly, an illegal immigrant woman has been arrested after spitting on all of the fruit at her local Walmart store for no reason. Now, Kurt Eichenwald seems to be one of these people that can't go 2 weeks without finding himself embroiled in another controversy. Kurt Eichenwald is knee-deep in so much bullshit that if I wanted to, I could spend this entire video recounting every controversy that he's been involved with. Instead, I'll just give you a couple highlights. Kurt Eichenwald is well known for a scoop that he had on a teenage boy that ended up becoming a camera whore and building a pornographic empire. This teenage boy had got to start cam whoring, but sooner or later, either his father or his stepfather, I don't remember which, got involved in the business. They moved everything to Mexico, and they started operating pornographic websites featuring the boy called, I believe, Mexico Friends. This, of course, was just another one of the lovely benefits we get from globalization. As a result of Kurt Eichenwald's reporting, the website was shut down, and the boy's father or stepfather was criminally prosecuted. So I guess that would make Kurt Eichenwald some sort of hero, right? Well, you see, here's the thing with criminal prosecutions. Now that the government is prosecuting this boy's dad, well, he now has a defense attorney. That defense attorney is entitled to seek discovery of all of the documents related to the investigation. This includes any documents related to the investigation that Kurt Eichenwald did as well. Through this process, which is referred to as discovery, some interesting things were revealed. For example, Kurt Eichenwald had paid the underage teenage boy thousands of dollars. He also served as an administrator on one of the pornographic websites. When questioned about these things, Kurt Eichenwald could not provide an explanation. He merely said that he suffered from epilepsy and it caused him to have memory loss, so he couldn't remember why he paid the boy the money, or why he was the administrator on one of the sites. Another thing that Kurt Eichenwald is well known for is claiming that President Donald Trump, around a decade ago, was committed to a mental hospital. Kurt Eichenwald maintains that this is the case, despite the fact that he has failed to produce a single piece of evidence corroborating this claim, something that you would expect would be important for a journalist. This culminated in a 10-minute long appearance that Kurt Eichenwald made on Tucker Carlson's news show. For over 10 minutes, Tucker Carlson repeatedly grilled Kurt Eichenwald, demanding that he provide some piece of supporting evidence, a witness, a document, literally anything supporting his claim that Donald Trump was committed to a mental hospital. For 10 minutes, Kurt Eichenwald deflected every single question, trying to constantly change the subject or misdirect. At the end of the segment, an exasperated Tucker Carlson asked how is it possible that Kurt Eichenwald could be an actual journalist. However, the thing that Kurt Eichenwald is most well known for, and in fact the thing that you've likely heard about before, involves an incident where Kurt Eichenwald tweeted an anti-Semitic flyer. As a Jewish man, Kurt Eichenwald was concerned with some flyer that he had received at his house or on his car that he perceived as anti-Semitic. To bring attention to this, he decided to tweet out a picture of the flyer. Kurt Eichenwald's computer screen and web browser happened to be in the background of the photograph, and one of the bookmarks on his web browser was a link to a hardcore pornographic hentai movie. And we're not talking an ordinary hentai movie. No, this was a BBW hentai movie. You see, Kurt Eichenwald doesn't like those little anime girls. He likes his anime girls with some junk in the trunk. He likes those thick, anime girls. Upon the internet confronting him over his love of chunky cartoon women, Kurt Eichenwald provided perhaps the most bizarre explanation possible as how this bookmark ended up on his desktop. According to Kurt Eichenwald, his children had approached him asking him about Japanese tentacle porn. Now, if I had kids and they came up to me asking about Japanese tentacle porn, I would respond to them with something along the lines of, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Don't ever ask me about that again." But according to Kurt Eichenwald, when his kids asked him about this, his response was to go and try and find tentacle porn on the internet that he could watch with his children. You know, instead of finding the question disgusting, Kurt Eichenwald viewed this as some sort of educational opportunity for his children. Nothing says family values like gathering all your kids around in order to watch tentacle porn on the TV. Of course, this explanation raises some questions. First of all, if Kurt Eichenwald was Google searching for tentacle porn, why did he fail to uncover any? It doesn't seem like it'd be something that would be all that difficult to find. Secondly, how in the process of trying to show his children tentacle porn did Kurt Eichenwald end up bookmarking a hardcore pornographic BBW anime movie? That seems like it would be pretty unlikely to happen, unless you're seriously dropping acid while you're doing these Google searches. So it should come as no surprise that our good pal Kurt Eichenwald, the well-known bullshit artist, the guy who was questionably connected with a pedophilia ring, and who loves BBW hentai pornography, would end up siding with Joe Biden in his controversy with Tara Reade. And Kurt Eichenwald has made it real clear that not only does he believe Biden, but he also has absolute contempt for Tara Reade. Kurt Eichenwald went on a tweet rampage on Saturday where he posted a series of 32 tweets attacking Tara Reade. Early on, Kurt Eichenwald calls Tara Reade a liar. He then indicates that the groping allegations are a conspiracy between Bernie Bros, Republicans, and of course, the Russians. So let's explore Kurt Eichenwald's conspiracy theory for a minute. This meeting takes place presumably around several months ago, someplace like maybe a Waffle House in Delaware. You've got all of the sides represented. Kyle Kulinski is in attendance on behalf of the Bernie Bros. You've got one-eyed Congressman Dan Crenshaw there, representing the Republicans. And of course, Vladimir Putin sends one of his top KGB agents, none other than the nefarious Pofistel Popov. Over a delicious meal of pancakes and waffles, the three conspirators decide that the perfect way to nail Biden is to recruit Tara Reade and have her accuse him of groping her in the early 90s. All they have to do is convince several of her friends and neighbors to make up stories that she told them these same allegations 10 or 20 years ago. And of course, they would need to use special effects to fabricate a portion of the Larry King Show to make it appear that Tara Reade's mother called into the show back in the early 90s to report her daughter being the victim of a senator. This grand conspiracy, of course, would explain why this is the only Larry King episode missing from the CNN catalog from that year. It couldn't possibly be because Joe Biden and CNN are trying to cover all of this up. At the end of this meeting, Kyle Kulinski, Dan Crenshaw, and the Russian KGB agent all shook each other's hands, with Kyle Kulinski remarking, "It's a pleasure doing business with you, comrade." And they would have all gotten away with it if it were not for ace reporter Kurt Eichenwald revealing this conspiracy to the world through his Twitter feed. Kurt Eichenwald continues with his tweets. "I literally hate Tara Reade." Really, Eichenwald? Because when I was reading your Twitter feed, I thought you just figuratively hated Tara Reade. I thought literally you actually liked her. But thanks for clearing that up. He then calls out the press for having the gall to expect Joe Biden to produce evidence proving his innocence. Kurt Eichenwald remarks that he hates the media for doing this. Of course, the idea that Joe Biden would be expected to prove his own innocence doesn't arise from the media. No, this standard was advocated for by none other than Joe Biden himself. Remember the whole hashtag believe all women? Remember during the Justice Kavanaugh confirmation hearings when Joe Biden took the position that any woman who alleges a sexual assault by default needs to be believed, that the burden of proof to dispute any allegations should remain on the accused? It is not the Republicans that advocated for this standard of proof. It's Joe Biden himself. But if telling you that he personally hates Tara Reade was not enough, Kurt Eichenwald takes it even further. He predicts that Tara Reade is going to be criminally prosecuted for filing a false police report. This is an actual Kurt Eichenwald tweet. You will be getting the attention you so dearly crave, and hopefully it will be when you have your perp walk. In Kurt Eichenwald's view, this is all going to end up with Tara Reade in handcuffs. They're going to haul her into a courtroom where Joe Biden, sitting in the witness chair, is going to point to her and say, "She's the one, she did the bad." And then the judge is going to bang the gavel and they're going to throw Tara Reade in prison for having the audacity to call out Joe Biden for groping her in the 1990s. This is the sort of deranged justice fantasy that someone would only have if they were deeply, deeply sick with Trump derangement syndrome. Kurt Eichenwald ends his epic Twitter rant telling Tara Reade that she's going to rot in hell. Now, I don't want to get all religious here, but I think it's fair to conclude that when Kurt Eichenwald tells Tara Reade she's going to rot in hell, there are two conclusions that we can draw from this. One is that Kurt Eichenwald believes in hell, and two is that he thinks that bad people end up there. So assuming that these two things are true, Kurt Eichenwald better be real confident that Tara Reade is not telling the truth. When Kurt Eichenwald dies and he's being interviewed in the afterlife, he doesn't want a repeat of Tucker Carlson. He doesn't want St. Peter or Moses or whoever does it for the Jews grilling him on what evidence he has that Tara Reade was a liar. He better have a better explanation prepared than he was trying to watch tentacle porn with his children. Because if these groping allegations turn out to be true, and let's face it, they're probably true, it's not going to be Tara Reade that finds herself rotting in hell. Moving on to our second topic, I've got a disgusting news story for you about an illegal immigrant who decided to spit on all of the fruit at our local Walmart store. This happened in Daytona Beach because, let's face it, of course something like this would happen in the state of Florida. Anyways, as reported, the illegal immigrant named Lisette Santos decided to go around to all of the fruit at the Walmart store and spit on it. When police arrived and took her into custody, she was asked, "Why did you spit on all of the fruit?" And her response was, "I don't know, just 'cause." This illustrates a problem that exists with the contemporary United States. You've got all of these people living here and all of these apartment buildings spread out all over the place. And then there's these people that are just lost souls. They live in their own little apartment, absorbed in their own little world. Many of these people don't have regular contact with friends or family members. They're not members of organizations that traditionally existed in America, labor unions, VFW posts, bowling leagues, church congregations. They're just these people who are lost in the wind. The only time these people interface with the world is when they leave their apartment to do shift work for their retail job. Every once in a while, one of these lost in the wind people goes completely bananas and does something absolutely crazy. Then they interview the neighbors. The neighbors are always like, "Oh, we don't really know anything about them. He was quiet and kept to himself. We always knew him as a guy who lived in an apartment. And that's about all we knew about him." And further inquiry reveals that the person was completely isolated. They had only tenuous connections to friends or family members, that they were mostly a loner that just kept to themselves. And for every one of these people who snaps and does something crazy like this, there's tens of thousands of them who don't do anything remarkable at all. They just continue to exist as isolated, autonomous individuals. Most of their community knows them as a man or a woman who lives in an apartment. And that's about all the community knows of these people. So you have this illegal immigrant. She lives in Florida. She's not with any friends. She's not with any family members. She's living in her own little world. She goes to Walmart, spits on all the fruit, and then the police are like, "Why did you do this?" And her explanation is, "I don't know, I just decided to do it." Now, when people talk about immigration to the United States, they talk about it in terms of a melting pot. The idea is that you take all of these people from different cultures and you kind of melt the cultures and then they blend together. At least that's what we're told. In reality, immigration to the United States resembles more of a dumpster fire. You have these groups of people from all over the world come and bring their local cultures, and then the local cultures are absolutely eviscerated. They're not melted together, they're burnt until there's nothing left. The end result of this is you have all of these people who are alienated from each other. They're not members of any sort of community, and they're not members of any particular culture. And if you're a human being and you're not part of any sort of culture and you're not embedded in any sort of community, what are you supposed to be doing with your life? What is the point of your existence? Your whole life can't be defined by the fact that 4 times a week you go over to Chili's and make people hamburgers. Because it creates the sort of situations where if you have nothing to live for, you might as well do whatever you want for no particular reason, like spit on all of the fruit at a Walmart store. Anyways, that's all I've got for today's video. If you enjoyed this video and you're not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe.